Hello, Plebeian viewers, and welcome back to Crit Day, your third favorite show on the internet. Today's episode is brought to you by my mom, who said, and I quote, "You can do it." So today I wanted to make a video talking about movie and show advertising. This idea was sponsored by the ad for Little Fires Everywhere. It is a novel that has been turned into a Hulu original show. And let me tell you, this trailer makes that show look horrible. Every time I make it about 12 seconds into the trailer, just because it's an opening shot of who I presume to be the main character, and you see light reminiscent of flame hitting her face, and there's a narrator who's speaking ominously like, "Somebody burned down your house, and with you inside, who would want to try to kill you?" And then it goes into who the characters might be, and it's just such a childish way to lay out a plot and present information. Like, it just makes you feel stupid when a show presents every little element with such ease. Like, especially for a drama show, I feel like part of what compels the viewer is solving the mystery. But when you clearly lay out, like, ooh, this character looks spooky, then I think it takes a lot away from it. I mean, I couldn't be less interested in a show. I've never read the book. I'm definitely not going to watch the show. But I mean, just this trailer alone, it's just so dumb to me. I don't understand what went wrong in the presentation of movie and shows. This got me down a whole rabbit hole of thinking. I went all the way back to some of my favorite movie posters. For example, the Boris Karloff poster of The Black Cat, the movie based on the Edgar Allan Poe novel from 1934. You see, this is how you had to entice the viewer pre-trailer or pre-advertisement, just because this was your advertisement. This was how you compelled the viewer. There's a lot going on in this, so it's exciting. You know what I mean? It pulls the viewer in. There's first of all a brilliant illustrative quality, which the illustrator in me just loves. But the idea that you can compel a viewer with just a still image is something that I think has lost a lot of its flair. And then, moving forward into the 50s and 60s, I started going through some of the posters of one of my favorite directors, Alfred Hitchcock, and all of these are much simpler. It's just a compilation of images, but again, it's something compelling. It's something exciting. And this was kind of in the era of the beginning of trailers. You would have to go to the movies to see them, but that image paired with trailer parody or combination would be what drove the viewers and put butts in seats. But now we're to a point where trailers have almost completely dominated the poster. I feel like movie posters are more of a formality at this point. A lot of them are really lame. We go back to the Little Fires Everywhere example. You've got two main characters standing on either side of a wall, and the wall is fire. It's not compelling. But sometimes a crappy poster can be saved by a really interesting trailer. But what a trailer, again, should do is leave us wanting answers, not sort of splay out what could be the answers to all of the questions you want us to ask. Again, especially for a drama show, what should be exciting and a mystery is the questions that we ask and how we as viewers sort of put them together to answer, and then the show can drive that narrative and answer those questions as it goes. But when a show from the gate tries to ask those questions for you, and then not only that, but lead you to the answers that they want you to have, I think is just a poor transition. There's a lot of shows out there that are doing the opposite, that have really exciting trailers, and they leave you with that mystery. But this type of ad was reminiscent to me of the Bob's Burgers episode Dinner Theater. And the reason for that is because in the dinner theater, The story is that Linda is the killer, but she's so poorly planting all of this misdirection, like, oh, it's the butler and it could be this person and all these people are dying, and she's giving you the questions that she wants you to ask, and then she's answering them for you. So as the viewer, you're not compelled to gather or theorize on any information. And that's kind of what crappy trailers like this do. When you have this over the top narrative that's just like, this is the bad guy and it could be this person or this person or this person, let me figure that out. And I'm assuming that this is dialogue from the show that's been pulled, because it kind of goes through the ad as a conversation, and that's bad dialogue even for a show, like, let alone a trailer. That's not how people talk. People don't structure every single event that has just happened and then lay that out as a question. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a New York Times best-selling novel, and it's transferred into a show. I know that Hulu is trying to pick up the originals game because Amazon and Netflix are just blowing them out of the water for all of their things. I think Hulu's only real claim to fame is The Handmaid's Tale, but then they're funneling so much money into advertising for this show, and it's just a horrible ad. I mean, it took me 3 clicks on YouTube videos because I couldn't think of the name, because I wanted to forget about the show, but it took me three video clicks to get to that ad, and it just feels like a waste of money. I mean, Hulu could make a better compilation of the shows that they have to offer and plug it in, and that would be more exciting than this. I think it's sad when shows are transitioned from something like a novel and it fails so poorly, because the art of writing and the art of filmmaking are both different sides of the same thing. It's how can we present a story effectively. And Celeste Ng, who wrote the novel Little Fires Everywhere, clearly told a story well. And even if the show is good, which it could be, I haven't watched it, I will admit, part of the allure of film is that you get a trailer. Much like if you had a poorly written back cover on a book or you didn't have good reviews slapped on it, it doesn't seem exciting. A trailer is a way more in-your-face version of that. So when you create this pandering, lame trailer that degrades intellect in a way, then you get something boring. Thank you for listening to my rant about movie trailers. I'm a huge movie nerd. If you do want a good recommendation, then I just watched the movie The End of the Tour starring Jason Segel and Jesse Eisenberg the other night. I believe it's a 2015 film. It is the story of a Rolling Stones writer who went and spent a few days with David Foster Wallace, who is the acclaimed writer of Infinite Jest, who unfortunately passed away in, I believe, 2008. Really good film. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's one of those really great films where not a lot happens. There's no exciting action. There's no build, but it's just a marvel in the ability of storytelling through film. And this was based on a book, so it fits in well with what I was talking about today. You've got not exciting, but compelling characters who are presented well, and it's a story of 3 days compressed into an hour and a half of a movie, and it's told really well. The characters, again, are compelling, they're interesting, their back and forth is really good. I'm a huge fan of movies where just stories are told in a way that is interesting. It doesn't have to be a big, long narrative plot line. It can kind of just be life, but presented in a way that's interesting and makes you think, and that's what this movie was to me. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of Crit Day. It is quite clear that every day is not going to be attainable. There's just not enough shit for me to talk about, especially not interestingly, for me to do these every day. So I'm going to try to do a couple times a week moving forward. I've really enjoyed this format. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to be starting a group This is one of the new features of the home for all things Plebeian, www.plebeian.us. Visit here. We have added members back to the site, so you can now sign in. You can comment on all of the writings, interviews, blah, 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 all of that stuff that's on there. There was a really cool interview with Alex Garant last week, and we can also make groups to foster community. So I'll be making a Crit Day one where I'll be posting these videos and we can have a conversation. I know all of my 8 viewers will be really excited to come in and talk to me about that stuff, but you can start a group too. I mean, help build a community, sign in and talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. We'll also be posting about a whole bunch of new stuff coming on the Plebeian Instagrams. You can follow those at plebeian_us and plebeian.mag. You can like us on Facebook, where we also share all of this stuff, Plebeian Inc. You can follow us on Twitter. Again, we post all our shit, Plebeian Deli. You can follow me on Instagram at Forrest Hines Art. I'll be here on the YouTube, so be sure to subscribe. Check out the podcast, the Plebeian Podcast. Check out River of Consciousness Podcast. Episode 38 of that just dropped. You can find those on all of the podcast medias. I think that's all of the plugs that I can possibly muster into this long of a video, so check them out. And yeah, come to the plebeian.us group. Join the new feature, sign in, join the movement, and let's have a chat. And I'll talk to you soon.